Alright, so I was playing the Cycle the other day. Cycle's like a player versus player shooter where you bring gear into a run, so you like crash land, or not crash land, you evac pod onto this planet, pick up everything you can, then you try to extract. And if you die during a mission, everything that you had on you, you lose, with some like little exceptions. But basically, you lose everything, like 95% of what you brought. And you can insure it and get a little bit of the money back, but dying, like, you lose a lot when you die in this game, especially when you're towards the end of a run. And so when you're on this alien planet, there's the biggest threat is other players, but when you're playing on the harder map, then there's also aliens that will attack you. And then the basic aliens are like these little dogs that you can kill with a pistol, and then they get bigger and stronger and tougher and take longer to kill. And like one of the big threats when you're fighting these aliens is the amount of noise that you make. You can hear somebody fighting one of these big aliens from several hundred meters away, where it'll take you like maybe 2 minutes at the edge of the sound radius if you're like full sprinting to try and get to where they are. So me and my friend Three the Third, we just call him Three, which is maybe going to be confusing for the story, but I'm sure you can handle it. We are loading into this harder of the two maps at the time. Now there's 3 maps, but the harder of the 2 maps that has some of the bigger aliens on it. And we're going to fight the biggest alien. It's called the Crusher. And the Crusher's, it's like this big, rotund, gargoyle-looking thing. It's got like these big wings that it can kind of like spread out and throw chunks of earth and boulders at you and stuff. And they take several minutes to kill. There's quite a big range of how lethal your guns are in the Cycle. So like if you're using the absolute worst gear, this might be like 10, 15, 20 minutes to kill one. And we were like mid to high tier gear, so it was like probably about a 5-minute fight. But it still makes a lot of noise, and the Crusher itself is pretty threatening. It'll throw boulders at you, it'll charge at you, and like I was saying before, it makes a lot of noise. The Crusher makes noise, he yells, the boulders make a lot of noise when they get thrown, but you shooting at the Crusher also makes a ton of noise. And if you bring a silencer, it doesn't make as much noise, but we weren't kitted for that. So we load in, and we're going pretty slow, just walking around. There's like five-ish places that a Crusher can spawn on this map. We're pretty close to one where he spawns kind of in this lagoon. Lots of water, low area near a power plant. And so actually being near the Crusher is pretty dangerous, because just to the west of the Crusher are these really tall cliffs that come from a highly trafficked area. East of the Crusher is the power plant, which doesn't have a ton of traffic, but there's good loot there, and there's some quests that you might need to do there, so that's kind of dangerous. And then just north of it is a bit of a wasteland, but also cliffs. So you're kind of in this valley in the lagoon, where when you're fighting the Crusher up close, you're kind of vulnerable from all sides. And the other thing is, when you're shooting the Crusher, you are making so much noise that it's hard to hear people sneaking up on you, especially if they're going slow, which they can because this fight takes such a long amount of time. The lethality in this game isn't super low. If you're familiar with like Counter-Strike or Valorant, where you can one-shot someone, it's not that low, but like a coordinated fire team, 2 or 3 people, can easily down someone in under a second. But at the long range, like 100+ meters, that becomes pretty difficult. So we're not like super worried of getting ambushed here, but we want to take somewhere that's fairly defensible. So if somebody does sneak up, we get in this prolonged fight. We're not like fighting at someone 50 meters above us on a cliff, because that fight is impossible. So we're coming in from the east. We're going past the power plant. It's pretty unlooted, so probably haven't seen people there recently. Most of the aliens in the area are up that we would expect, so we're like, okay, this is fine. So we cross below the crusher, going up to the cliffside on the west, and we get to the very top of the cliff, and we've got, it's probably like 200 meters down and ahead towards the crusher. So we open fire, and basically what I'm doing is I'm using a sniper, and I'm trying to hit the crit spot. He's got a crit spot like right here, like his shoulder blade. So if you're high enough above, you can kind of hit it even if he's facing you, which is, it's kind of a tough shot, so it requires a decent amount of focus. But every time I reload, I'm doing like a swivel. I'm looking left, I'm looking right, because I want to make sure, if I'll be able to see someone way before I can hear them, because we're up on this high perch and there's not a ton of cover to approach us. So we get the crusher down to like probably about 50% health. So we're well into it. We're kind of committed here. We've used a lot of ammo. We'd like to finish it. And as I reload, I swivel to the left and I see someone. I'm like, okay, we've got company. We've got people coming to the left. So me and 3, we both pull back a little bit. We step behind a tree. We reload. We know they know where we are, basically. And the cool thing about this spot that we're on at the top of this cliff is there's actually like a lattice of these giant tree branches that you can walk up onto. You don't have a lot of cover up there, but you're in a really unusual spot. And these guys that found us, I think, were probably a little new. Because one of the guys has a shotgun and is actually trying to shotgun us at like 100 meters out, which it just doesn't work. Like you get damage markers, but your health bar like changes by like this much. So it's really not an issue. And so once I observed, I was like, okay, they have shotguns. I'm going to go up on the tree branch and just stay super far away from them, because we both have snipers. If it's a long distance fight, it's pretty easy. And so I go up the tree branch. 3 stays where we're at this cliffside, like behind this pretty large tree where he's got a good line of sight, but they can, if they both just sprint at him, they could get to him. And as I go up the tree branch, I see them pushing, and me and 3 start taking shots and kind of forcing them to take cover. And the interesting thing about this cliffside is it's got like indentations part of the way down. So it's not like a sheer drop. There's like, you can go down like 10 meters and then you could go down like another 15 meters before you hit the lagoon bottom. And falling damage in this game is pretty aggressive. Like if you fall 30 or 40 meters, you're taking a lot of damage. If you fall like 80 meters, you're just dead from full health. So where I'm at, I'm probably 100 meters up, and if I fall from that tree branch, like I'm 100% dead, which is a thing that I have done multiple times in the past. I tend to panic when I get surprised in this game, especially. And I've had times where I'm walking along on something kind of precarious. I get shot. I panic. My WASD fingers, they slip, and I'm like trying to move forward, and instead I'm walking backwards or I'm walking left or something, and I just like fall to my death. It's that didn't happen this time, fortunately. So I'm up on the tree. 3 is down on the cliff behind this other tree. And these 2 guys are approaching us. And we're taking shots, and they take cover. One of them, I see him drop down the cliff into like one of these lower indentations. And he is... So it's a cliff face that I am looking at dead on. There's no cover on it. But there is like a little nook. And he is like in the nook crouched. Like I guess he doesn't know exactly where I am. Maybe he's trying to take cover from 3, who's at a different angle, but like he has 0 cover from me. So I'm reloading my gun. I'm getting ready to finish him off, and I think he kind of realizes that this is not a good idea. He gets up and starts running towards me and throws a grenade, and I'm like, can that even hit me? I don't think grenades go that far. And so I'm like backing up. I'm being a little cautious because grenades do a lot of damage in this game. Like a dead on grenade is like 70, 80, 90 damage. Like it's a lot. So I'm being kind of careful. I back up and I take some more shots at him. Grenade falls way short, like not even close. And once I realize it's not going to hit me, I step back up and I finish this guy off. And I'm like, okay, first guy is dead. Where is his friend? Where's the shotgun guy who was charging us? And 3 is like, I don't know. I didn't kill him. I didn't see him run away. Right? So we don't know where this guy is. So we're still slow playing this. Because I know he has a shotgun, I'm like walking around in the tree branches and I'm looking down, and 3 is walking around. We're kind of covering each other just in case, because the other threat here is like another squad might get attracted to this. And finally, on the very bottom of the lagoon, below the cliffside, below where his friend was, I see gear. And when you die, your gear just drops where you were. So I see armor and a backpack. And I'm like, I think I know what happened. So the shotgun guy went all the way down the cliffside, and I think he was planning to come up like around, like trying to flank where 3 was hunkered down up above. And when his buddy on the cliffside threw the grenade, he actually threw it right onto his teammate and killed him like only moments before he himself died. So we picked up both kills that way. We had a good laugh about that, looted them, finish off the crusher, and made it to extract. But it's the first and only team kill I've ever seen in the cycle, and it was very memorable. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that story. I'll see you next time.